Hey there, everybody. Welcome to PonderCast Season 2, um, all about e-learning. We're talking e-learning now. The first season was about teachers sharing awesome tips and tricks on everything from technology to pedagogy and ways to make your classroom more engaging. And then I slipped into doing some Riley Spotlights, which is where I teach at, and featured a whole bunch of amazing graduates. Now that I'm starting season 2, and we are maybe in the middle, maybe at the end of a pandemic, I'm not quite sure, but we're going to talk about e-learning. Okay. So first of all, my name is Seth Ponder. I am a project lead the way teacher in South Bend, Indiana, and I would love to have some questions thrown at me. So first of all, I strongly believe I've been talking to educators, been talking to students. I have 3 students at my house. So during the day, they're my students. During the evening, they're my own children. And we have had some highs and some lows during this e-learning time. And then as a parent, I see it from the student side. I see it from the teacher side. I see it from the parent side. So I would just love to share ways that parents and students and teachers can work together and make this a powerful, successful season of learning, finish to our first semester. Yes, I know it's like a quarter after 10 p.m. and that's because the kids are in bed. That's the only time that I get to kind of create on my own. And yeah, just like you, like all of us parents are going through the same thing. We're working from home, or when we get home, we're helping our kids, just like always. But now there's that little bit more stress to learning because many of our students are at home and learning. Now, I don't want to make this like a blame game or pointing fingers at who's doing what. I strongly believe that it takes like the triangle, the parents, the students, and the teachers to put it together. My amazing principal, Sean Henderson, talks about the triangle that the Chicago Bulls did and had so much success and correlates it to the time that we're in now. A couple of things that I love that some teachers are doing. First of all, the elementary teachers in our area are making like slide decks or Google Slides that have just like one slide deck with everything on it, their math, their social studies, their history, their reading, all on one slide deck, and the elementary students just go through the entire slides. I think that's a great idea. I think it helps them stay focused. And then we got to think about the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. And the middle schoolers and high schoolers could have 7 different teachers, and those 7 teachers could turn things in 7 different ways and have 7 different platforms. And so that's very tough. And so I teach high school. Our oldest is in middle school, and then our 2 youngest are in the elementaries here in South Bend schools. So I did some crowdsourcing and asked some questions out there for parents specifically. How can we help? How can we get e-learning or improve e-learning? How can we help parents in e-learning? And so here are some questions that I'll roll out. I want to encourage you guys to ask some questions, and then I'll maybe bring some answers or bring some professionals in to answer some questions. All right. So first of all, let's see. The first question was, how do we navigate Google Classroom? I think that's a great question. I think there are a couple ways to do it. And I think a lot goes on the teacher and how they organize Google Classroom. I'm a big fan of using topics in my class so that students can easily find on the topics what we're doing. And some teachers are using topics as like the dates so that the most recent is at the top and it kind of waterfalls down there. I also want to encourage teachers to organize using the classwork tab. Because if you just put everything on the stream, everything just falls down and gets cluttered and gets tucked away. But if you use the classwork tab, it's really easy to organize everything. You can click, drag, and drop stuff all over the place. And maybe I can even show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if I share my screen here, and you can see the stream is just a waterfall of information there, in no particular order. And every single assignment, every single post, every single agenda, every single question just waterfalls on down. However, in the classwork tab, you're able to create these topics and you are able to click and drag the topics above some things, up above different topics to help keep yourself organized. I also, you can see like posted on August 11th. So that's my attendance check-in form. Every student does this Google form every single day, and I keep that at the very top. The next thing we're working on recently right now is our websites and our portfolios. And then this was the last project. Now, I also have class agendas. So in here, this is easily shared with parents and students. So if you have a class agenda, which is kind of like a hyperdoc right there, and there's a slide for each week. And so this can easily be shared, um, and students can easily click on it. Now, you'll also notice that I have some of the same links on here are also on Google Classroom. So I kind of over prepare the students and send them to them a couple different ways so they can find the same assignment there here on the agenda or here on Google Classroom. Again, using the classwork tab is super easy. Now, another way to navigate Google Classroom, everybody, is hit Control F. And this way, you can just find things a little bit easier. So let's say a student didn't do an assignment and it was called About Me. They can easily type About Me and it jumps them all the way down to an assignment that was titled About Me um, back in the middle of August. So using Control F is a super useful find tool for parents and students and teachers when you forget what you might have named something. Um, let's see. Let me jump out of here and stop sharing. Okay. How do we keep up motivation and maintain momentum? That's a great question. Um, one way that I keep momentum is I try and do the same thing, or at least have a routine every day. So my routine always starts with a Google Meet, the beginning of my class. And I know some schools, some school districts are asking, to do asynchronous and synchronous maybe every other day. But I just try and check in with the students every single day. It might be for 20 minutes or it might just be for 5 minutes every single day, just to say hi, just so that they can see my face. Hopefully, I can see theirs. I'm really encouraging students to turn on their cameras. And then also to remind them to do the attendance form. Um, and just to ask if anybody needs any help and just talk to them, give some instructions and things like that. uh, when it comes to the attendance form that I've showed just recently, it is just a simple Google form. I've used the same one all year. I know some teachers change it up from week to week, maybe even day to day. I use the same one all year, so I don't have to change that link, or at least I use the same one for the semester. So at least I don't have to change the link. The students can bookmark the attendance form so they can easily find it. And then I do change the questions from day to day or week to week. So the first few questions are always the same. It's, what's your name, first name, last name, class period, um, uh, and then a rate. How are you doing? One being awful, worst day. Five being this is an excellent day, and I have them scale that. That helps me kind of just check in with the students, because if anybody does a one or a two, I'm really going to talk to them, maybe shoot them an email, but just see how things are going. And if someone's having a 5 out of 5 day, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask them what's so awesome about today, because We need those wins now more than ever. So keeping motivation is just kind of check in, build that routine every day. Um, how to maintain momentum? That's a great question. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I think I might be onto something. I've had a little bit of success just this week, and I know it's like, I don't know, week 16 or something, but I've begged students to turn on their cameras. And I feel that with more cameras turned on, the biggest thing we're missing right now, I think, is relationships. And if we can build those relationships, it starts with some smiles. And so I've even started measuring my class by how many cameras are being turned on. And I'm trying to see if that correlates with attendance going up and also then performance and grades improving. Um, so I think it does. I think at the high school, middle school level, a lot of students want their cameras off because they might want to like block what's in the background, or they might be having a bad hair day. But I'm telling students like this is the first time ever you get to wear a hat all day. You can cover up the hair, or maybe lack of hair. Um, you can wear whatever you want. You know, whatever sweatshirt you want. You don't have to be in uniform. Um, and finally, since many of us are home doing e-learning, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. So we can see the smiles again. And that's what I am loving. So I'm begging my students to turn their cameras on. So parents, please help that. Please encourage your child to turn the cameras on. It definitely helps as a teacher. It helps my day go by better, our day go by better, but also it is a good way to kind of check and see, get some easy feedback from students and checking to make sure that things are going well with a simple thumbs up, or hey, we got to slow down with a little wave or something, and have something repeated. Okay. Next question was, how do we get kids to remember to fill out their attendance form? Um, First, again, kind of build that routine if I'm a teacher. Second of all, if a teacher is using the same link all of the time, encourage your child to bookmark that. If a teacher has an agenda every day, or I'm sorry, every week, encourage them to bookmark that so students can easily just click on it, maybe even before class even starts, and they can do that. Um, let's see here. Keep kids. Next question was, how do we keep kids to stay on task? As a teacher for many, many years and a parent for many years now, that's a great question. Now, if I were a student and this was happening back in the day, I'd be struggling. This is tough. Okay. Um, Not only do students have a computer and do websites, any website they want at their fingertips, but they've also got devices, the cell phones, the PlayStations, the TVs, the radios, everything that can easily be distracted and maybe might be a little bit more fun than your basic engineering class or English class or math class, whatever it is they're supposed to be paying attention to. So, how do we keep kids on task? It's a great question. Can someone please help me answer that? I think having a routine is helpful. I think having the class be engaging as possible. I also believe like having the students have their cameras on is super helpful because then the students can see their friends that they miss so much. And maybe just, a couple minutes a day, just having the teacher be quiet and let the kids talk and be kids. Maybe that happens at the beginning of the day. Maybe as an elementary teacher, you're just like, all right, everybody scream on the count of three and yell hi to your best friend. Or turn to your left and you'll have all the tiles going everywhere and have a conversation to your friend on the left or the right. Or, you know, it's Susie's birthday today. We're all going to scream happy birthday and sing happy birthday to her on the count of three. So I really think that we just need to make it engaging. We need to have the cameras on and have the mute buttons off as much as possible. Um, let's see. Maybe the last question here says, does the angle of my kid's Chromebook, camera, or microphone catch me going to the bathroom? I'm gonna say yes to that. I'm gonna say yeah, it probably does. So go upstairs. Um, that was a good question. I'm not gonna name names on who sent me these questions, um, but it's safe to go to the farthest bathroom away from the kids' Chromebooks. Um, Also, we want to get our steps in these days, and just walking to the other side of the house is going to help. All right. Um, let's see. I really want to make this as much fun as possible. I want to get some people involved in this. I know there are great educators doing great things all over our school district, all over our state, and all over our country. And I can't wait to have them on. I also can't wait to get other parents' point of views on how to help with this. I think there's a big dilemma that we're having right now, and a whole bunch of parents are worried, a whole bunch of students are worried about grades. And someone said, well, they should have been worried back in April. And I told them, I said, you know what, here's the big difference. Big difference was in March and April and May, the grades didn't really count because students did the best they could, and all of a sudden they got a grade that was based off of third quarter. So a fourth quarter grade couldn't be worse than your third quarter grade. And so a lot of students didn't really maybe take the fourth quarter all that seriously, or didn't have the opportunity to take the fourth quarter all that seriously. Now that we're almost a semester into this school year, I have not heard any discussion from the Department of Education or any Department of Education about waiving any grades this fall. And students are starting to realize, and parents are starting to realize, that it's coming to the end of the semester and grades are going to be finalized here pretty soon. So for me, I have been really trying to contact parents and students through email, through phone calls, um, through YouTube videos, and now through podcasts, to get work turned in. And I know it's not ideal for many teachers to be like to extend due dates and things like that, but um, I'm asking as a parent, as a lifelong learner, as a student, to please show some grace, show some understanding for some students, um, show some help. We're all in this together, and we're only going to be successful together. So please, please, please extend some due dates, give some kids some grace, and there are a lot of students and a lot of teachers and a lot of parents going through some hardships right now, um, whether it's with COVID, or it's with cancer, or it's with communication. Um, we just need to work together, so that we can turn this experience into a successful one. So I know for my class, I've been saying, all right, students, like, I'm not going to mark anything down, any missing assignments. Just please get it done by this exact due date. Um, and given time in class to get work done and ask questions. Another thing I recently did that I find has been helpful is I created a Google Meet that is just always on. I call it the Ponder Pop-in link. It's shared on my Google Classroom. It's shared on my agenda. And that way students can just click that and do a Google Meet, jump into that Google Meet. I keep it on either my phone, always on my phone, or on a separate computer or an iPad, just right next to my desk, so that students can just pop in and ask questions. And I had one student today say, this is a whole lot easier than writing an email and trying to get you to understand what I'm talking about, which I think is a good thing for students to learn. But I also think that just being there for our students is what's also most important. So if there's anything I can help with, please reach out. All of my contact information is below, and I look forward to making future videos and podcasts with you guys. Again, this is the start of season 2. So, what questions do you have about e-learning from parents, students, and teachers? Have a great rest of the day.